This is the first of several videos on support team orientation. This is for anybody who wants to serve on a support team, some basic things that we all ought to know, I think. Let's just kind of list these, and then I'll talk primarily about this first one. If we can understand the team approach and how it helps us do our work, it'll be help the whole team to function better, understand the team approach. The second general area that we'll talk about eventually in support team orientation has to do with how to offer some tips, I should say, but how to offer emotional and spiritual support. How to offer emotional and spiritual support. We'll pull that one down here since we'll come back to it at another time. And then thirdly, part of support team orientation has to do with being aware of being aware of our boundaries. Things that will save us a lot of future problems or concerns that we might have. Being aware of our boundaries, if we know what those are, we'll know to avoid them or to keep those boundaries. So let's spend our time on understanding the team approach. People ask me all the time, well, where do I start? Because there are so many moving pieces to this puzzle sometimes. And I would suggest that you start with what are the needs of the person you're trying to help. We'll call that person the support team friend. So what are the needs of our support team friend? One of the ways we discover that is the support team leader goes and visits with the support team friend and has a list for us in our first meeting, and then we can go from there. What are the needs of our support team friend? And so I encourage people to start here as opposed to making a list of what I'd like to do. And so an example of this might be, let's see, what I would call a good example might be your support team leader goes to visit your support team friend ahead of time and discovers that the person would really like weekly visits because they are lonely, they're having a difficult time, and that emotional support would really be helpful. So a weekly visit might be one thing. Another one might be yard work. Because of the person's illness, they're not able to get that done, yard work, and so that would be really helpful if somebody could do that. Another area has to do for this support team friend preparing a meal or two during the week and being able to have leftovers from those. So prepare meals, at least some meals, not necessarily all meals, and the team can decide that. And I don't know, other ones might be things like needs might be cleaning house because they're not able to keep up their house quite as well, or go to the grocery store. So these might be some of the needs. These are just examples. Of course, it varies with every single person. But these might be the kinds of needs that some of our support teams might do for a support team friend. And so the question then, here are some of the needs. The next question has to do really with what would you like to do as a team member. So I'm going to just say, and consider, and you're on the team, so we'll say, what would I like to do on this team based on the needs that we've discovered? And so when I think about and look at and hear the needs of the support team friend, let's just say for me, I would much rather do yard work. Let's just say I'll speak up in the meeting and say I would be glad to go and cut their grass or whatever that might, whatever the need might be. So yard work is the area I decide. Now, of course, you can choose whatever needs you want to try to meet and how often you can do that, and that's the other part of this particular question is when I ask what would I like to do, and then to ask and when or how often can I do that. And it's an important part of, as the team is getting formed, of what would I like to do and when would I like to do that. And the whole team goes through exploring these needs of our support team friend, deciding what parts I can do or what I'd be glad to do. But there might be some things that no one is able to do. And that's okay. We can't do everything, but we can do some things. And so we'll make sure that the support team leader communicates clearly that here are the things we are able to do, these are the things we won't be able to do, and we just want to be real clear about that communication. And the final thing I want you to remember is the power of teamwork. The power of teamwork. This is how this is different than what a lot of people do in volunteering individually to help someone. The power of teamwork means simply that all of this does not depend on me. All of these needs that are there, I don't have to do all those. I can just do what I can do and when I'm able to do it. And as long as we coordinate that with one another, this really works well. And we coordinate that through a monthly meeting that's less than an hour, and it will help us be able to meet as many of the needs of the support team friend as we can meet. And understanding the team approach begins with what are the needs of our support team friend. And once we understand what some of those needs are, and of course these can change from month to month, even week to week, but we then discover what is it that I would like to do, and to remember all of this doesn't depend on me only.